Hi, imagine that you are an HR executive in a company and your boss has just told you that you have to maintain a time data for all the employees who are working in that company. The condition is that all the employees' time data should be separate enough to maintain. Well, welcome to this video. This is a video not only for the HR guys who are working in HR organizations and in corporate sectors, but this is also a video made for all the students who would like to view how you can incorporate VLOOKUPs and data validations and other if statements uh, in order to just brush up your basics. Okay, so first of all, I have already created a basic template for myself to calculate an employee data at the attendance of the employee. If you go through this particular worksheet over here, the background color of the worksheet, I have changed it to black just for the sake of this video. You can keep it as black or you can keep it as any color you feel like. It doesn't really matter. Now we will go through this particular timesheet one by one. The first one is the heading. The second is a place where we can put in employee codes. I forgot to change the background. Okay. Now we can put in employee code over here. Okay. Then we will come to the second row where you have another heading, days, months, and years, which actually points to the direction that we have a year heading and the input section is here. Then the month heading and the input section is here. The days, the input section is here. So this is how it goes. Let's say we are in 2018 and the month is November. So the selection of month, when we do over here, the days will automatically get popped up through VLOOKUP, and the leap year will automatically pop up when you select months through VLOOKUP. So these two we will be using VLOOKUPs. Over here we will be using data validations all throughout for designating whether it's an absence or a presence or whatever it is, and we will be designating this as in the letters or alphabets like P, L, W, P, or whatever it is. Over here the name of the employee will come, and over here this designation of the employee will be coming. So name of the employee and the designation of the employee both will be referenced through this particular cell over here, and we are going to use VLOOKUPs in both these cells over here. So now we come to the next portion of the calculation, which is the days. How do we calculate a present day or an LWP date? So we're going to use some if functions over here and Countif functions over here. Doesn't matter, just ignore this particular cell for the moment. The second thing which we are going to check is the salary payment. So the salary payment column, well, if you're calculating the days and the presence and the absence, you might as well need to pay them the salary, right? So salary payment columns is been considered over here as the total days present, the basic salary the employee is getting, that will be coming through the employee code, the per day salary the employee should get, that will be coming on the basis of the days and the basic salary, and the salary payable to that employee for that month. Okay, let's get started. I would just want you to have a look at the salary data which I have created in some other sheet, which we will be referencing into the timesheet. So we have the employee numbers as stated, so this will go into the employee code. The name of the employees will come to the this particular cell, B6 that is, okay, and the designation over here we will be referencing it to this cell. Then we have the basic salaries, which we will be designating, referencing it in this cell. Okay, so first of all, let's get started. So I'm going to take the employee code, okay, and I'm going to use a data validation tool for the employee code. because I sometimes tend to forget about the employee codes, so I will be using a data validation. So for this, we'll head over to the data tab. We'll go to data validation, click on data validation, and the data validation window opens up. So we go to settings and we'll click on list. Now, why am I using list is because this will show me the entire employee the employee codes when I click on the drop down. Now, if you have huge number of employees, it's always better to keep a set of code handy, the employee codes handy, so that you can just punch in, or you can have a data validation. It totally depends on you how you can do it. But before we select the source, we'll go to the input message. Oh, sorry, we have to select the source, I'm sorry. So we select the source, we go to salary data, and then we'll select the employee codes. Okay, now here is the trick. We're going to select the employee codes plus one blank, because it might happen that you can add over here another employee, or you might keep on adding employees. So the source also should keep on increasing. So I will click on this, and we have selected the source. Now we'll go to the input message, and we will place in some message like you give a title. So this is the input. Like when you hover over there that particular cell, it will show you that or when you select the cell, it will show you, hey man, you have to select an employee code or something like that. So we can write some short codes. I'm not going too extensive on this. So EMP code, hey, please place EMP code here. Okay, now what happens when you type in ABCD or something like that? You tend to forget and you type in ABCD, so it gives you an error, right? So when we talk about error alert, we generally check show error alert after invalid data is entered. So whether you want to stop it, or you want to give a warning, or you want to give an information. So generally I like giving information, so I don't like that stop symbol. So I will putting a title as wrong entry, please check the EMP code. Okay, so if I click on OK, now you see the cell is selected. Now if you come over here and you select outside, and then you click on the cell, so there it is, you have EMP code. Hey, please place EMP code. Now what if I place AAA and hit enter? See, it gives you a wrong entry saying that please check the EMP code. Alright, let's try it again. So now we can select the employee code as this. Now this might not be pretty visual, so I'm going to change the color to black over here so that you can view this. Okay, alright, so now that the employee code has been selected, now we'll be working with the name of the employee. So we're going to use Vlookup over here. So we're going to add an equal to sign directly on the cell, and then type in Vlookup. So this is what it does, is it does a vertical lookup of the columns, the number of columns you specify as per the code which we have given over there. So hit a tab key, it will auto populate the formula, and then we want to see what is the lookup value. The lookup value is this, and I'm going to lock the cell, press F4 on the keyboard, and I'm locking this cell. Okay, and I'm going to place a comma, and then it's going to ask me what is the table array. So control page up, and I will move over to salary data, select from the employee code, and then come back till basic, and and one extra. Okay, so always remember that you keep one extra handy. And before you move over to the next argument, we would like to press F4, what it does is that it locks the cell over here from A3 to E9. You see, it locks the cell over here. Press a comma. Now we want to see the name of the employee. Now the column index states which column are we looking for in Vlookup. Okay, so and it will reference, since we have selected this as a reference, it will give you the particular, whatever column you select over here, it gives you that particular column's details. Okay, so I have name of the employee in the second column, so I will be placing in column index 2. Okay, and the range lookup should be 0, that is any match. Okay, so if I hit enter, now I have the name of the employee. Now I'm not going to type in, for designation I'm not going to type in the same formula again and again. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to, since these two are being referenced from the same column, so selecting everything and copying and then hitting escape, I will be coming down to this particular cell, and then into the formula bar I'll be punching in this particular formula. So the third column had a designation, I suppose. So I will remove this column index and I'll press 3 as column index number, and then you have the designation as assistant. So now my employee code and the name of the employee and designation has been filled up. So if I change something over here, like if I change the employee code, the name and the designation changes. You see that? So for now I'll leave it on matte. Now for the years. The year is very important because it gives you like, it's very important in calculative terms, because you need to let people know what year's timesheet you are calculating, what month's timesheet you are calculating, and what are the number of days in that particular month, and that as I told you before, whether that particular year is a leap year or not. Don't worry about the details too much, because we're just going to show you how you can do this. Now we are going to use data validation again. So for this data validation, I have two things over here. I have the bunch of years and the months together, and whatever year I have taken over here, I have kept a reference over here as well. So I'll be using this as a data validation reference over here in this year. So I'll go to data validation tab again, click on data validation, go to settings, click on list, ignore blanks, and it should be in cell drop down. Now it's time to select the source. Click here, go back to basic calculation data tab. You see that the basic calculation data tab comes in. Now we will be selecting here, Control Shift down, we select everything, and we will go to the input message because we want people to know what message it is. So we'll take this as an input message. We'll type in year. So please select the year. All right, and we'll go to the error message, and we'll go to information and say error, make sure that you have selected a proper year. Okay, and click on OK. So now you have year, please select the year. Okay, now you see you have all the years over here. Now months we will select on the basis of this. Okay, or we can do, like, for example, if I am selecting months over here, then I can have a data validation here as well, because it's just 12 months, so it doesn't matter. So again, the same process, click on data validation and then go to list, and then select your source from basic calculation. So now I can select January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December over here. Okay, go to input message, and then we can type in months, 2 colons, and please select the month. Okay, and then exclamation mark over here, and head over to the error alert. Again, information. Okay, so oops, months error, and for the error message we can type in it should start with January. Alright, this is a fun message we can give. Okay, alright, click on OK. So now you have the months. Now for the days, we are going to select something called a Vlookup again. So we're going to select, now this is how we do it. We select months, and then we type in, previously I had hit an equal to, now we are doing it through plus. Okay, so Vlookup, you go to the lookup value of January. Okay, so this is what you're referencing. Control page up, and then go here, go till December. You don't need the full thing, okay? You just need this. Go to December. Why we need this full thing, I will let you know later. Just give me a second over here. Hang on with me. Hit F4 to lock the cells. You see the cells just changed in D3 and F14. And then we need the number of days. So what we are going to do is we are going to hit a comma, take 3 as a value of the column index, and then 0, close the bracket, hit enter. So now you have days as 31. So now you select, let's say June, you have 30. Okay, then you have December, then the days comes as 31. So year 1996. Now this we are going to check whether it's a leap year or not. So for this, again the same principle. Now we are going to select the whole bunch of data to decide whether it's a leap year or not. Okay, so hit an equal to, Vlookup, hit a tab, the bracket opens, the lookup value is your year 1996. Okay, comma, table array control page up. You're going to the previous page, so control page up. If you want to go to the next page, then you go for control page down. Okay, now we are going to select the full bunch of months over here. Okay, and we are going to select, hit F4 to lock the cells, comma. Now we're going to select the column index. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5th column. So we want to type in 5 over here, and then a 0 at the end, close the bracket, hit enter. So now February, 29 days. Now see, 1996 is a leap year. You select 2000, let's say 2000. You see it changes, February, 28 days. So now you know that it's like 29. So 2020 is also, so 2021 is 28 days. Now see, it's working. Okay, so much has been done. All right, so one thing we have forgotten to add over here is a basic salary. So I'll be adding basic salary on basis of the employee code here. So again, the Vlookup comes in handy in this portion as well. So Vlookup, again, now go up for the salary part. So we have selected salary. Now we'll lock the cell. Okay, now we're hitting F4 key to lock the cell, hit a comma. Now we'll go to table array. The table array, page up, control page up, and select from here, control shift right arrow key, control shift bottom arrow key, and then shift down, leave one space as usual, what I told you before. So now we are going to count, we are going to log the cell, okay, the range, and then comma. Now we are going to count the number of columns. So we have 1 2 3 4, the 5th cell, and hit a 0, close the bracket, hit enter. Now we have the basic salary as here. A little bit of formatting is required, so we go to the home tab, and you see this comma over here. We'll just place in the comma style, so it comes in as a figure quite recognizable. So for the per day basis, we are going to select this as basic salary, and we are going to divide this basic salary with the days which we are going to select. So we'll hit an enter, and this is the per day. Now the decimals are looking pretty big, so I'm going to reduce it to 2 units here. So 145.16 is your per day salary if you are considering a basic salary of 4,500. So if I select some other employee code, then you see the salary changes, the name even changes, and the per day note also changes. Now so far so good, we have done our salary. So the salary payable would be the per day salary multiplied by the total days present. Okay, so we hit enter, and it will give you 0 because we don't have any total days present value as of now. So let's say if it is 25 days he was working, so this is the salary which he's going to get. Now since I was describing you about this, I also noticed that the decimals are again a problem, so I will be reducing it to 2 decimal points, and then I'll be placing in it as a number format with a background which is a little bit different than before. So I'm going to select something like a dark background, which will let us know that the salary payable is this. Okay, and make it a little bit bigger. I think the font looks much better now. Alright, so now we're going to select and play over here. How do we do it? Again, we are going to go with data validation, but this time we are not going to go ahead and give any error message or a control tip text, because now you know how to do it. So I'm just going to place in the data validations here. So we'll click on data, we'll click on data validation tab again. All right, we'll go to settings, click on a list. All right, and select a source. For this we go to basic calculations, go all the way up, and we have already adjusted something over here. So I'm going to use A for absent, leave without pay. So for leave without pay, I'm going to use A because I'm just running out of space over here, but you can use LWP as well, doesn't matter. Whatever it is, I'm going to select all these 3 together. So after selecting all these things, what we're going to do is we're going to click on OK and come over here, and we'll get to see that these things, the absent, LWP, and the LP, the present, they are all filled up. So once this is done, we will move over to the next step. We will click and hold our left mouse, drag it across, because we want this to be available everywhere. So now if I hit a P and hit delete and just hit enter, you get to see that the P is selected because the data validation allows P to get registered. Okay, but if I place something like 3, let's say for example, and then click on OK, then it's giving an error message that the value you entered is not valid. So we can retry it again, and then we can again, cancel this, and then we can give LP or LWP or whatever it is. Don't worry about the adjustments, we will do it later on when we go to the end of this video, just to make it look much better. Alright, so for now we are going to delete this, and let's talk about this payment status day wise payment. Now this column, it's generally I have placed it because the employees should know whether that particular day has to be paid or not. If they're taking an LWP, well, the employees know that, but anyways, if in case someone does not know what it is, and that is the reason we have coded with numbers. So the ones represent that the payment is allowed, and the twos represent that there is no payment. So let's quickly perform a VLOOKUP and arrange all this into a proper order. So what I'll do is I will select, for the purpose of this experiment, I will select all the variations, and we will be using VLOOKUPs here just for us to make sure that we are not making any mistakes. So here goes. We press equal to, and then we type in VLOOKUP, okay, the lookup value as P, all right, and we are not going to lock any cells here. So hit a comma, table array, control page up. We're going to select the table over here, select the full bunch. So you have 4 columns across and 4 rows. Lock the cells, hit F4, it locks the cell again, comma. Now we want the column index, so the non-payment status and the indicators are all 1s and 2s, so it is in the 4th column, so I will select 4, then hit a comma, and then place a 0, close the bracket, and hit enter. You see? So now we have, if the guy is present, he gets a payment status of 1, that means it is supposed to be paid. So what we are going to do is we are going to drag it across, okay, left click and hold and drag it across. Now we get this value as NA, which means there is no value here, and that's the reason it is showing NA, okay. So value not available, and that is an error, okay. So what we can do is, if we get to adjust the error options, then we will be able to just hide this value, but I don't want this, I don't want to do this, and I'll just leave it like this, for example. But generally, when we are working with this data, we keep this first column with the VLOOKUP and then keep dragging and dropping. So sometimes it might happen that you're selecting 30 days, so you don't need 31 days, so you delete this. And then if it is a leap year, you will have till 29 days in February, so you delete till 30, and then you try and calculate till 29. So all these things has to be taken into account when you are calculating, but nevertheless it's all part of the game. So manual adjustments, a little bit of manual adjustments help you to work better. So anyways, doesn't matter. Now we are going to remove all this. We're just going to press delete and remove all of these for the moment, and we are going to add another note here and change this heading here, because since we are dealing with identifiers, people should know what kind of an identifier it is. So I have already made this identifiers here, the payment designators. Now I'll take this and I'll pull it across here. So now we have the payment designator. Hit equal to sign, select this and hit enter, and the payment designator gets referenced from the cell here. Okay, now since this is done, now we will move over to the days present and absence and LWOP and all those things. Okay, so again, Now we will take days present, and assuming that this particular person is present all the days, and so this is 31, so that's the reason I selected 31. And now I will select this as well. So everything is a payment status 1. That means this fellow has to be get paid. So I will be using a formula which is Countif, which means it counts the number of present, the count formula, which counts number of p's over here. So I'll put equal to and then press count. Okay, now I'll go to the first cell and then control shift till AG6 and hit F4 to lock the cell, close it and hit enter. So now we got a 0. That's because we weren't using Countif. I'm sorry. So we need to use Countif, and we're going to give a range of this till AG6. Okay, lock the cell, and the criteria should be in quotes capital P. Okay, now this is character recognizable, so you have to be a little bit careful. Plus, I'm going to use another Countif. Okay, and then the range. Just copy this range here till the quotes. Copy, paste, and hit a small p. So if it is a small p or a capital P, doesn't matter, it will select the values. Okay, so hit enter and you get 62 because it's taking a lot of p's over here, so I will remove this for the moment. So now we have 31. Okay, now for the LWP, same thing, we are going to change the letters. So we're going to write LWP and hit enter. We're getting 0 because we have not selected any LWP here. So now in case if we change LWP, now this days present changes to 30 days and LWP changes to 1, which means this is 1 less than 30, and this cell over here becomes a non-payable cell as per the writings over here, deduction from salary. So now we are going to use a little bit of conditional formatting here, because since there are a lot of ones and a little bit of twos involved, we need to know which are the non-payable values. So we're going to select this before we head over to LWOP section. We're going to select this, go to the Home tab and select Conditional Formatting, highlight Cell Rules, which is equal to 2. Okay, now you see that it gives you a pointer saying that this has to be deducted. Now I'm going to give it a light red fill or a red text and click on OK. You can do it the way you feel like, it doesn't matter, but my basic objective was to show you if there is an LWP or if there is an absence, what happens. It just stays 2, and if there is a present, it changes back to 1, the normal thing. Okay, so we are going to come down to LWOP, which is we are going to club 2 countifs together. So one is to check LWOP, the other one is to check an absence. So let's see. Okay, so here it goes. Now we'll check an absence over here and an LWP. So we come over here, take this value, the total value, copy, we're going to wait one sec. We're going to take this and drag it all together. I think that's better. So now you have 31 over here. Now we'll change it to LWP, okay, and hit enter. So it's 0, and this 31 happens to be an A plus any thing with LWOP, okay, any conditions with LWOP. So copy this and change it to LWOP. So close the bracket, hit enter, and there you go. So now if we have one absence over here, so it counts 1 over here, and the payment is not allowed. Now this is LWP, which means that's a leave without pay, and the payment comes over here. Now there is confusion which is going over here. It means this is LWOP, so we'll go over here and change the leave without pay to LWOP. Okay. Now we'll go to timesheets and then select LWOP. Now see, it comes to 2. So now we say that, okay, this person has gone from leave from 16th till 21st, and we select 16 to 21st like this, the total range, and then we come down to the, we click the drop down and we hit leave paid and Control R to fill up the data and come out of it. Then you see a 0 because leave with pay, it is showing as LWP, so I will change this to LP, and leave with pay is 6, so we are going to change the heading as LP as well. So now this looks much more uniform. Okay. So we have 23 days present and 6 days LP and 2 days of LWP, whereas LPs are paid, the LWOP and the absence are not paid. So it's time to readjust the columns. So I will take LWOP as the center of readjustment because it is the largest among all of these. A little bit of adjust, it gives you, and we will reduce the font a little bit so as to adjust everything. Okay, so the font gets adjusted and we will wrap it up. So now you have LWOP wrapped up and we have all the other things. So in case you select LWOP in all the columns, so we need to wrap text everything. Okay, now this is done. So let's say the salary calculation part is automatically coming up, and I think the total attendance, time attendance system is operational, which means you have 25 days of presence. Oh, I'm sorry. After this, we will move over to the salary payment section, and we are going to do some adjustments here. Before the start of this video, we typed in certain values here and tried and referencing things from, like, for example, you have the basic salary which gets referenced from Vlookup value when we have the employee code here. So for the total days present, I'm going to delete this, and what we're going to do is we're going to add these two together because this is leave with pay and this is the days which are present. So these are the days where you'll get the salary, right? So we're going to hit a plus sign and then click on this cell and then hit a plus sign again and click on this cell. So this adds up the value, and as per the basic salary here and the per day salary which we are getting through, like, the basic salary's value divided by the number of days here, and this gets multiplied by 29 to get to what we call getting this value. So if I double click on this, you get to see that it is like 29 multiplied by 130.71. So this cell multiplied by this cell gives you the value. So now once this is done, we can also do certain adjustments in terms of representing what kind of salary we are giving. So on what basis. If I take this down here a little bit, okay, and let me readjust the screen for you guys to see. All right, now we have the total days present as 29, but on what basis is this 29? Whether it's like we need to show the salary breakup for the days present and the leave pays. That makes a little more sense in telling people that uh, why the salary has been given like this. So I'm going to come down a little bit just to get it adjusted to screen, and instead of putting it here, I'm going to put it here somewhere. I think this is better. This looks a little bit clean. Now for basic salary, I'm going to leave it as it is, and we're going to expand, take a little bit of margin centers, and expand this a little bit, and take the salary payment heading and expand it. So we have this and hit F4, and this gets expanded as well. Adjust the row a little bit, so your salary structure comes, and per day the basic salary comes. Okay, and let me give it an all border so that it creates a basic thing. So now over here we can place as details. Okay, salary details, payment details. So this is salary payment to be paid, and this is the the presence details, or you can name it the way whatever you feel like. So I will write it as payment breakdown, which sounds more simple in terms. So I'm going to actually increase this a little bit more, which will help me to adjust the column. So give it all borders just for me to check, and all borders here. So now I have the grid view, so I can adjust accordingly. So this is margin center, this is margin center, and this is margin center. This is the same thing. I'm hitting F4 key, because F4 stores your last formatting options. Okay, and over here I'm going to type in days present. Oh no, present days, maybe salary. Okay, present day salary, leave with pay salary. Now this is going to be a little bit big, so I'm going to wrap text, split it to the left alignment, and reduce the font a little bit. Oops, sorry. Now I have reduced the font a little bit, maybe to 14. So present day salary, this would be plus the per day multiplied by the number of days present here. Okay, and the leave with pay salary would be plus this multiplied by the LP here. Okay, I'm getting a huge value. I don't know why I'm getting this. Oops, yeah. All right, now this is fine. Okay, so now we have the leave pay with salary, and we have the present days with salary. The other thing which we have to add is any absence absence deducted. Okay, so any absence deducted, wrap text, give it a right alignment, reduce it to 14, and we are going to adjust all of this together. So I'm going to, this is better. Okay, so any absence deducted, that would be plus per day multiplied by any absence which has been deducted. Okay, and this will be a red background with maybe something a lighter shade maybe. So now the employee knows that I have 2 days of absence, and you can also place in days if you feel like. So if I just move it a bit and probably shift this a little bit. Alright, it doesn't matter. I will keep it here for now. Okay, here, and present days I will again merge in center, F4, F4, close the box and merge in center again and hit the border. Alright, so present days can be referenced from here. Okay, and this can be referenced from here, and the absence can be referenced from here. So now you have the absence, any absence deducted. Now let's say, for example, this particular employee doesn't have any absence. He has an LWP here. See, it's reducing. So now we have another LWP, so I will make it as present, because at times it happens that you get to know that the employee was present in the office, but somehow they missed out on the attendances, and you're in a recorrection mode. You're correcting the salary, so you hit present over here. Now he gets the full salary over here, and you will get to know that he had 7 days of leave pay and 24 days of 24 days present in the office. So and the salary reduction is actually 0. So that's the reason he's getting 4052 salary as designated. So once all this is done, now it's time to protect the worksheet in a way that only the certain columns can be modified and not all of the worksheet together. So for protecting it, we will be going to Review tab, and before we head over to protecting the worksheet, we need to check what are the cells we are going to modify and what are the cells we are going to leave blank. So we are going to hit Control key and press and hold that, and this is the cell we are going to modify. This is the cell we are going to modify. This is the cell also we are going to modify, and we are not going to modify this. We are going to modify this and all of this. Okay, and the rest of it we are going to do nothing. We'll leave it as it is. Okay, so you're going to right click and go to Format Cells and go to Protection. We'll remove this locked. Okay, click on OK, and for the others, as in the total sheet, we are going to check once if the format cells are locked. Okay, this is locked, and we are going to check this as well. Okay, so this is locked. So the only thing which we have unlocked is these cells over here, because we are going to change this one, and this one, and employee code here, and the rest we don't have to do anything about it. Okay, it automatically gets accepted. So now it's time to protect the worksheet. So how do we do it? We select protect worksheet, and the protect worksheet dialog box comes up. Before we hit a password, we're going to uncheck the select lock cells, because it's not going to select the cells now. Okay, and we are going to allow the user to format the cells, because sometimes it's required that you can format the cells in a way that it looks better in a print preview, and adjust the rows and columns. Okay, the adjustability should be given. Okay, and we are not going to give any privileges over here. So now if we hit a password, let's say I'm hitting a password of ABC123, just the password, doesn't matter, and then we re-enter the password. So that's ABC123. Now as soon as we hit OK, the cells are locked, so you cannot select any cells. You see, I cannot select any cells. I'm clicking actually. So now I can select these cells over here, over here, over here, over here, no, over here, yes, and then over here, no. Okay, so now I cannot select any of the cells over here. So there is no way that someone can change the values. Now if I say that this guy was present, like for example only 3 days, and I'll select some other employee code, and it's for Pratt, and he's present for 3 days only, or 2 days, so he's 2 days present. Okay, and it's mandatory that you adjust the absence as well. Okay, so you select all of this for 31 days and Control R. Now you have 29 days of absence. So this is the deduction, and this is the payment which comes up. All right, wow, looks good. Give it a try, give it a shot, and see how it works out. In case you need this particular template, let me know, then I will create one for you, and I'll send it to you across. You can contact me directly through Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn or whatever it is, whichever channels you can. You can also visit my page. We have a Facebook page, and the Facebook page is, I will write it over here as, this is the Facebook page. So you can come over here and express your views about the video. All right, and if you want to follow other videos too, you can do that as well, but for now I think this is good enough. And you can also email me your request at gmail.com. So you can also email me your request, and I will be ready to help you. Even if I don't get a solution, we have a lot of people, Excel experts, who make a lot of videos, and we can get you a solution, so don't worry about it. Anyways, it's the Babu Banerjee with you, and it was nice having you all with this lovely tutorial, and thank you for your patience. Hope you had a nice learning experience. Give us your comments, give us your views, express us your views, how you liked the video. Like us, share, subscribe, the general words, So whenever you want any help, we are here around, so you just let us know, and we will be happy to help you. And peace, my people. Thank you so much for watching this video.